Hello, and welcome back to Great Reviews at All. And today I'm actually coming back with my review on the second part or half of You. Um, so they split it up. So I've been able to completely finish the rest of the season. So that was the finale. That was all we're going to get for this season. I actually kind of like the way that they split it up because that way, it gives you some time to kind of sit on those few episodes that they gave us, and then they give you a break in between, and then you get the rest of them. So that way you don't fly through the entire season just like that. So I actually kind of like that idea. I kind of wish they more of the different series that's being done, even not even just on Netflix, just period on any other platform, that they would kind of follow that. Maybe like even on BET Plus, they might release like 2 episodes per week, something like that. That way you don't finish the whole entire season like too fast. You want to savor it, you want to enjoy it. So with that being said, I was not expecting the twist that we got for the second part of You. Turns out that Joe actually was fighting with himself. It's almost basically like he's just at this point had a full mental break to where he has, I guess you could say, a different personality that will come forth and takes over, and Joe is completely unaware of what the heck is going on. So this entire time, the killer that he's actually been looking for and who he thought it was not correct. It was actually himself. So we get to see the clips where they go back and they see where Joe is talking to himself versus where he thought that he was talking to, oh my goodness, I'm not good with names, y'all. What's his name? Let me see. Reese. The whole time he thought that he's been talking with Reese and that Reese was the one doing everything. Turns out it was Joe the entire time. Kate's father actually had Joe to go and take out, when I say take out, go and take out Reese. And Joe, I mean, at this point, he had no problem with doing it because in his mind, Reese has been the one that's been killing off everybody and trying to frame him and holding that stuff over his head. So the whole time, he's already angry, and wanting to get rid of Reese. And he was given the ultimatum by Kate's father when they all had to sit down and a meet for the first time to handle that. And so he had no problem with going to go do it. Now, it made way more sense that when Reese opened the door, that he did not know who the heck Joe was. Because at first I was like, okay, wait. I'll be honest with y'all. I was like, okay, something's not right about this. Joe was kind of like, excuse me. So he burst in the door. He got him. He tied him up in a barnyard, what it looked like, something like that, some kind of a garage, and basically tortured him to try to get information out of him. One, because at this point he's realized that Marianne is in danger and that she's been captured, so he's thinking that Reese did something to her. So he's trying to find out where the heck she is. Now, the whole time Reese is consistently saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Who are you? And I'm just like, okay, wait, what's happening? So what happened was, I mean, Joe got so angry, he ended up killing Reese. And then we see another Reese walking in on the ending of that part. So my initial thought was like, oh my gosh, this man has a twin. I hope I'm wondering if I was the only one who thought that at the time. But obviously, as you kept listening and let everything play out, turns out that particular Reese was all in Joe's head. And he really was just talking to himself, basically. I was like, okay. So that explains a lot. That explains a lot. Um, yeah, it really did. I wasn't expecting that. I was a major twist for me. Um, but I like it. I like it though. No one would have expected that. Joe has a whole nother personality that takes over him and does the bad things that the Joe that we see is trying not to do, but somehow still kind of finds himself in those situations to try to cover up, whether it's past things or just it's just like Joe just has no luck. Like those scenarios just seem to kind of find him, you know. But now we see that's what happened. So it was actually Joe the entire time. Now, um, now at this point, his student that has been, around, um, she was the one who was having some type of love affair on the side with Kate's now ex. He's, obviously Joe was the one who actually really did murder him. Now, this girl, she starts to, just get a funny feeling. She starts, kind of digging a little bit. And then she starts to figure out, okay, something's not right. She did end up breaking into Joe's apartment, finding a whole key. I think there was like some pictures or something. Somehow it was able to lead her to where she found, she thought was going to be like a dead body or something like that. But it actually ended up being Marianne down in some kind of weird looking dungeon thing, abandoned building, in that freaking glass box. Now, I am very curious to know, how in the heck is Joe getting all these materials to build this box? And when did he move all of those things in there for anyone to even know? No one noticed that. No one thought it was weird, because obviously he kept going to the food place that was directly across from it. So we get the full information on how Marianne actually ended up there and how she ended up in that box. They showed us to where it looked like Joe helped her to escape, when really he did the complete opposite. He actually ended up drugging her and taking her, because he was still obsessed with her. Yeah. Now, so all of this has happened. The girl, she finds Marianne down there. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to help you. I've got to find a way to get you out of here. I mean, it was like, wow. So the whole time, at this point, I am rooting for this girl to get Marianne out of that freaking box. Because we all know Marianne has a daughter. She has a history, drug abuse. And, she's just trying to be on the right path to make sure she's, doing what she has to do to keep custody of her daughter. That's the most important thing to her in the world, right? I mean, it was actually very sucky to see her, the struggle of the day in and the day out, being stuck in that box, to where he was coming to feed her every day, to the point where all this stuff happened with Joe, and he was in his right mind, not realizing that, his other personality had Marianne locked away in an abandoned building in that box, that glass box. So she didn't eat for a while. And that was like, oh, that was so terrible. That was so sucky. But thank goodness that that student was so freaking nosy and found her. So they concocted a whole plan to get her out of there. And I thought that was so brilliant of them. They didn't just have a plan A, they also had a plan B. And basically Marianne had to kill herself, I think. I think she did. If that's the way it looked, she had to basically die in order to get out of that box. Joe disposed of her in a park on a bench and just left her there. And that girl, the student, and I can't remember her name either, terrible, but she actually followed him because she only had it within a certain time frame to give her that shot that was gonna make her wake up. And I was just like, oh my goodness, that was For me, that was the best part for me, to know that she was able to escape away from that situation. He thinks that she's dead, so she's able to live and go on about her life. Probably going to need a lot more therapy. Probably have a lot of questions as to where she has been. But all in all, in the end, she ended up back with her daughter. So that was the brighter side, right? Now, even with all of that, somehow Joe, he basically took out Kate's dad. So there was that. Then we get the scene where he's on the bridge. And at this point, I think the audience, we can all pretty much come to an understanding of what's probably about to happen right now. So in his mind, he's still talking to himself at this point, but we see him talking to Reese. It's really himself. He pushes that figure off of the bridge, and then he proceeds to follow suit. I was just like, oh, okay, so he's gonna take that route. I mean, I guess at this point, it's more like he's just like, I'm never gonna be the best version of myself that I can be, that I want to be, because I have this darkness in me. So that was what he decided to do. However, as he's in the water and he's going to the bottom, we get to see him kind of rethinking that situation and trying to fight back to get out. But at this point, it's too late. And I thought that that was the end of it. Now, fast forward, we get to a hospital, and guess who's there? Joe. He has been saved. I guess you could say that could have been his opportunity to redeem himself. But if you kept watching, we all know that that wasn't the case. Kate, just as crazy as he is, she basically, he gave her, basically told her everything. She was grateful to him. I think she knows that it's possible he did. If I'm not mistaken, then she did know that he did do something to her dad. But with him doing that, that left everything to her. So she gets a chance to redeem herself, right? But now she's saying, we're going to do this together. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I was just like, okay, there's something wrong with both of you. She said, we are going to keep each other good. Wow. Joe doesn't have a good history when it comes to the women that he says that he loves in his life. So I guess we could only pretty much, not even guess, we can pretty much say what her future is going to look like. If they do another season, I do not see that relationship is going to last, okay? 9 times out of 10, it's going to end up with Kate being the one no longer there. Joe, before him and Kate went off to live the rest of their life, this luxurious life and stuff, which was so crappy for Marianne to have to see that on the freaking, on the TV or something. She saw something where it was the both of them, and it was his face and her, and it was just like, oh my gosh, what a slap in the face, right? Because he basically got away with everything. And then Joe, that poor student, she was trying to nail him, but hey, when you helped Marianne escape, you probably should have left it at that and left that man alone, because in the end, Joe figured out what was going on, and he handled her boyfriend and then pinned it on her, if I'm not mistaken. If that's what I thought I heard, I believe that that's what happened. That was so jacked up. But I was just like, God dang it, girl. All in trying to help, all in trying to do the right thing, all in trying to get evidence on this man. I mean, just terrible, because like I said, when they showed us, when she went back to that abandoned building, everything was gone. And I mean everything. So Joe had cleared everything out once he got rid of Marianne. So there was that. But yeah, I would say they did a really good job with the season. Like I said, I love a good murder mystery, and that's what we were getting at first. And then the second half, they hit us with this whole thing about Joe having another freaking personality that takes over him to the point where he doesn't even remember anything. So at this point in his mind, he's in the back, you know, and that Reese character is actually Joe, but it's Reese in his mind that's been doing everything. How crazy is that? So thumbs up for me. I think they did a really good job. I'm curious to see if they do another season, what route they're going to take it. Obviously, we're going to have to see what's going to be the fallout from the relationship that Joe and Kate have, especially with his new access that he has, which is a dangerous game there. But yeah, it's almost like Kate pretty much kind of, I won't say they're married because I didn't see that, but she really kind of got in a really deep love relationship with someone similar to her dad almost. But yeah, let me know what y'all thought about the season of You, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it. Yeah, so that's it. I want to thank you for watching my video. I'll be back with more reviews on some different things, all sorts of things. Anything that I think is interesting, I'll go ahead and review it. So have a good day, and please come back for more. Bye, y'all.